Hello and welcome back to the last session of your functional skills level 2 English before you sit your assessments. Congratulations for making it this far in. It's been a long old journey, hasn't it? Or it feels like it's been a long old journey, but we're here. So let's concentrate. In this session, then, we're looking at how we're going to construct complex sentences consistently and accurately. Oh, very happy clicky there. So aims and objectives then. By the end of this session, students must be able to write what clear, concise and precise writing is, know the different formats of different document types, plan their writing and proofread their work. So this is now bringing everything together that we've covered. You should be able to try and use clear, concise and precise writing, know how much detail to use and how typical lengths of certain documents. You could be able to employ all of the above to achieve high quality, clarity and formatting. Students will be assessed on their ability to communicate information, ideas and options clearly, coherently and effectively. And write text from an appropriate level and detail of the appropriate length to meet the needs and purpose of the audience. So why is sentence structure important? So at level 2, you're expected to use complex sentences accurately and consistently. This skill builds on what you're able to write, simple and compound sentences that are expected at a lower levels of functional skills. So you've got simple sentences, compound sentences, and now you're working on those complex sentences. So I want you to pause this and I want you to go back to your learning material in Canvas and I want you to watch video 1 on complex sentences. And when you're done, come back and we'll carry on. So welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's really useful, isn't it? It gives you a really clear idea about identifying or creating those sentences. So let's have a look. A simple sentence consists a subject, a verb, and an object and makes sense in it on its own. So for example, I worked in a shop. Very simple sentence. A compound sentence is two simple sentences joined together using a conjunction. So I worked in a shop, sentence 1, but that's your connection. Next month, I will start a new job in a leisure centre. Good. A complex sentence has a main clause that at least one subordinate clause. For example, after I left college, I worked in a shop. So a simple sentence, you had the subject, the verb, the object. The compound sentence, you had the first sentence, the conjunction, the but, and then the second simple sentence. So bringing that together as a compound sentence. Now, where you're meant to be at now is the complicated compound sentences. So this is where a compound sentence is a simple sentence joined together using a conjunction. So after I left college, I worked in a shop. So there. So identify the sentence types. Remember, now you are meant to be on complex. And you should be able to see this, right? You should be able to see this just from the length of the sentence. So the cafe was busy. Simple. Although the cafe was busy, the waitress managed to serve all the customers. Complex. The cafe shuts at 5. Simple. The cafe was busy because the cakes were very popular. Compounds. The cafe was busy because it's the joining one. The cakes were very popular. So the cafe was busy, sentence 1. The cakes were very popular, sentence 2. The because is what links it together. The cafe shuts at 5. The cafe, which is on the main square, shuts at 5. Complex. So complex sentences and subordinate clauses. This is a complex sentence. The cafe, which is the one in the main square, shuts at 5. The main idea of the sentence is it's called the main clause. It makes sense on its own. The additional information is called subordinate clause. It doesn't make sense on its own. So if a subordinate clause splits the main clause, you need to use commas to show where the boundaries are. So the main clause, the CAF, comma, which is the one on the main square, again, subordinate clause with a comma, shuts at 5, main clause. So identifying main and subordinate clauses, reading these statements and identifying the main and subordinate clauses before opening the CAF, subordinate clause, Hannah empties the bin, main clause. So Hannah owns the CAF, main, which is always busy, subordinate. Hannah, main, comma, who runs the CAF, subordinate, needs to hire more staff, main. Matthew, so main, who is in college, subordinate, has a part-time job at the CAF, main. Are we there? Does that make sense? Identify main and subordinate clauses. So why use complex sentences? To get the marks of functional skills writing level 2, you need to show that you're able to write complex sentences. They are good for explaining things precisely and in detail. Good writers for complex sentences to combine ideas and make their writing more interesting and effective. Take this example from a letter of complaint. I was disappointed the goods I had paid for failed to arrive on time. I was disappointed when the goods I had paid for had failed to arrive on time. They can be used to stress the importance when one idea is more important than another. You can put the most important one last so that the reader remembers the best. So after paying the next day's delivery, I was devastated that the goods failed to arrive on time. So if you want to stop here, go to your activity 2, have a go at completing it, complete the questions, review your answers, make sure you're right, and then come back. Welcome back. Here we are. We're now going to do some checking of learning. So, what is a complex sentence? Hopefully you said D, a sentence with a main and at least one subordinate clause. We've just covered that, haven't we? At level 2 writing, you need to be able to do all of those, don't you? Do you remember you have to do simple, you have to do compound, and you have to be able to do complex. So it's got to be all good. A sentence with a main clause and a subordinate clause is also known as, we've just said it's what you've got to do at level 2, D, a complex sentence. IDs in a paragraph must relate to one idea, should have enough detail, and should fit logically together. They're all correct. A main clause can't make sense on its own, always has a comma, can make sense on its own, or should come first. Remember, the main clause could make sense on its own. A subordinate clause doesn't make sense on its own, gives extra detail, and can appear at the beginning, middle, or an end of a sentence. So it's got to be all, isn't it? Because we've seen that all in action. Wonderful. So now we've come to the end, so let's recap. By the end of the session, students must be able to state what clear, concise, and precise writing is, know the different formats and different document types, plan their writing, and proofread their work. You should be able to try and use clear, concise, and precise writing, know how much detail to use, and know typical lengths of certain documents. You could be able to employ all of the above to achieve high quality of clarity and formatting. Students will be able to address their ability to communicate information, ideas, options clearly and coherently and effectively, and write text of an appropriate level for detail and an appropriate length to meet the needs and purpose of the audience. Don't forget to check your answers. Congratulations, you have now finished the module on completing complex sentences. The next session we're going to be looking at bringing this all together and then doing the practice assessments. So take care. See you all in the next video.